Alright love, have a good trip. See you in a week. Bye, see ya.
So my wife's away for a whole week now. What am I going to do with myself? Quick, get on the internet.
The next day.
Well, hello. I'm only about 3 years late to the Losi LMT party, but at last I've got one. It's here. So let's have a look and then we'll have a talk about why it took so long for me to get one. Money, basically, and why I was so keen on this one. Blimey, it's a whopper. Let's do the exciting bit. Oh yes. Now that is a nice looking RC truck. Yeah, that is super nice. Right, let's have a look inside. It's got a look of body clips under here. There's a couple more under here. Is that it? Aha. There we go. Okay, so you've got your twin metal plate chassis here. Battery in there. I think that's 120 amp ESC. So receivers in a waterproof box. And the motor is down under there. Clever design this with the hinge and the roll cage inside the body there. So that's the plug for the lights. I think what people do is put an extension in there so you can leave it in all the time rather than to unplug it every time you open up the body. So you've got your servo up front attached to the axle. Right, so underneath it's a bit like a crawler really, so you got your motor in the middle and drive shaft going out to the axles there. Looks like there's reasonably thick oil in the diffs there. Now I had to decide whether to go for the grave digger or the son of a digger here, so I went for the son of a digger. So I generally prefer the colour scheme. I love the graphics on this one. They both look really nice. So I like the fact this one's got a grille to it, which the grave digger hasn't. So it makes it have a nice little face on there. And also I've put an aftermarket bumper to protect the front, and I think it looks better with this body than the grave digger. So I'll put a battery in, let's see what the lights look like. Pretty cool, eh? One thing I've noticed that isn't quite perfect is this roof sticker. It's off to this side a bit, so you can see that bit's supposed to go around the window. That sort of goes behind the window, so this front edge should be pushed over there a little bit. And you can see the holes don't quite match up as well. So it's a bit annoying, but it's probably not quite annoying enough to send it back. So other than the truck, you get the controller. So this one is a DX3, so it's got the smart battery thing, but that's no good for me because I haven't got any smart batteries. Other than that, it looks pretty similar to the other ones. You get this stuff. So you get body posts with this, which is good because you can use an aftermarket body. You can leave the roll cage off and use these, or there's sort of various combinations of things you can do. So you can use different bodies. So there's an extra battery hold down strap. You get batteries for the controller, which is nice. Losi sticker and the instructions. Have a quick look at this. So they're telling you about opening up the car, going through the transmitter. You have to switch it on. So you've got ESC settings here, and I've got this Spectrum programmer box, so I'm hoping that works with that ESC. It should do. Okay, so things about the gearbox, shocks. So you've got some exploded diagrams, more exploded diagrams, parts list. And it goes into other languages, so yeah, it's pretty good. Okay, I've done a bit of work on this. I've put on the aftermarket bumper. Definitely think it looks better with that on. It'll be a nice bit of protection for the front. Also, I've taken the cage out of the body and I put Gorilla Tape inside most of it. And the driver figure inside was a bit glossy, looked like I had a gimp suit on or something, so I'll put some Tamiya flat clear over that so it's a bit more matte than it was. I've trimmed this roof sticker around a bit so it meets the windscreen at the same place as that side, so there's a bit of a curve on there now, but you can't really notice it and it looks better like that. Also put the extension cable in for the lights so I don't have to unplug them every time I hinge the body back. So all I need to do now is give it a little test. So yeah, I was going to talk about why it took me so long to get one of these, and yeah, it is mostly money. It is an expensive truck and I haven't got that much spare cash these days. And there were other things in the meantime that spent my RC budget, like the Armour 4S cars, but finally I saved up enough to get this one. So as to why I wanted this one in particular, well, I really like RC cars that are models of things that exist in real life, and also I really like monster trucks. I think the thing with monster trucks is that they're not the best handling in the world, but they're sort of really good fun to drive and a bit quirky. Part of the challenge with these is actually keeping them the right way up. Now if you're looking for RC monster trucks, then obviously there's also the Tamiya Clodbuster. Now that is a good fun truck, but it's not that robust. Also with the twin motor design, it's a bit more difficult to make it brushless. So I think by the time you put a load of upgrades on the Clodbuster, you could have bought one of these. Now this will need a bit of upgrading too, but not too much. Now if you've watched my channel for a while, you might remember the big wood chip pile challenge that I did. The objective is obviously to get to the top of the wood chip pile, and it's not as easy as it looks. So I had to go with this, and it was pretty good at it. Probably could have spent all day here doing this. So with the test drive, I was suitably impressed and I had a lot of fun with this. Did have a couple of issues which I'll come on to later. Now I think one of the most fun things you can do with this is find somewhere you can launch it almost vertically like this. So just demonstrating the wibbly wobbly handling here would put you in mind of a Tamiya lunchbox. I'm trying to launch this so it lands on the top of the bank, which didn't go well most of the time. Now it was all going well until I looked at the front of it and thought it looked a bit wonky, so it's back to the hobby room to have a look. Don't know if you can see it, but that side of the chassis looks quite bent and it's all a bit wonky. So yeah, having a metal chassis is all very good, but it doesn't spring back like plastic. So one problem I think is that the very solid bumper transfers any force into the chassis, whereas if you had a springy plastic one, then it might absorb some of the bump. So I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to hammer that flat or get it in the vise or something, but I better have a go at it. Right, I've taken the front bit of the frame off here. I don't know if you can see that on camera. That is really, really bent. So that's supposed to be a flat panel. That side's not as bad, but yeah, look at that. That's pretty bad. Now I did think this wasn't a major heavy duty basher, but I thought it might be able to take a bit more than that because I don't think I really abused it in that session. But anyway, I've ordered some carbon fibre ones of these all the way from China. I don't know if they'll be any better, if they'll just smash into a million pieces, but in the meantime I'm going to try and flatten this out a bit. So I've squeezed this in the vise and it's not exactly flat, but it's pretty close. So I think that's good enough. So I'm going to put it back together. Right, that's all back together. I'm sure it's not straight as it came out of the factory, but it's not bad. So like I was saying, the problem with having this very solid bumper is that transfers all the force into the chassis. Really what I could do with this more cross bracing across here, because there's not much support in the front of this. And if I took the bumper off, then the front of the body would get smashed in. Probably what would be best for this truck actually is to have a basher shell and not have that. Or have a shorter shell. I've seen someone cut the fronts off of these actually and have a shorter body on there, and then sort of the wheels are going to hit first. But anyway, I'm going to leave it like that and be a bit careful with it and see how I get on. And then, like I say, I've got the carbon chassis plates coming from China, and I'll see how robust they are. They shouldn't bend, but I don't know if they're going to break. So the other thing needs sorting out on this is the steering. There's a lot of slop there. That's not even the servo saver spring. This is where it attaches to the servo. Seems to be moving on the spline somehow. But I was going to upgrade this servo anyway. This is a 23 spline. The one I'm going to get is going to be a 25 spline, so I'm going to need a new saver anyway. So I'm going to try and get a better one than that. It doesn't matter too much on a truck like this. It's not like it's a finely tuned racing machine, and it was good enough to have some fun, but I would like to take some of that slop out of there. So I need to sort out strengthening the chassis or being a bit more careful with it. I need to make the steering a bit better, but apart from that, I'm super impressed with this and very glad that I bought it. That's about it for this one. Thank you ever so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.